Hi, this is Osman. I'm an energy healer, yoga and meditation teacher, and an entrepreneur. Be sure to visit my website, yogawellness786.com, for more information on our services and to be able to get in contact with me. And remember that our therapies and advices are all natural basis and not a replacement for medical treatment. If you have a medical condition, please seek the advice and consultation of a qualified and licensed medical professional in your locality. So that being said, I'd like to discuss today the topic on how to manipulate people. So many people come into the yoga sciences to learn some secret formula or mindfulness techniques to have a superior mind, to be able to control telepathically or mind, but through your mind you want to be able to control people to do your bidding and your will, right? So I'd like, from my experience point of view and a practical point of view, discuss my opinion on how to manipulate people. And it's not the way that I've discussed right now. It is something much easier and much simpler and makes total logical sense. That if you are happy in yourself, you are, together, you are more centered. Of course, no one's perfect. You're going to have your ups and down days. But you're more or less working on balancing your energies and balancing, which in turn will have the effect of keeping a more balanced mind, more than the regular people, right? Through the practice, of yoga or simple yogic practices like a simple 7 minutes a day mindfulness practice, or a 5-minute yoga meditation practice that you can download for free from my website, right? And practice it in the comfort of your bed. It's going to change you and make you more balanced and harmonized in the way you interact with people. So when people see a more balanced person, they tend to want to deal with that person, and they're happy, when that person comes, and they're happy, they going to welcome you, into not only, their minds, but in their hearts as well, with time, and see that you are a likable person. Once people like you, they will then start to trust you, right? When people like you and trust you, then they're going to do things that's going to help you if you are helpful to them. You must always remember, life, there's nothing for free, and it's always a win-win. Think always win-win, right? So in Stephen Covey's book, 7 Helps of Successful People, 7 Habits of Successful People, is the win-win principle, the principle of win-win, right? So not try to do something to get something in return. Try to create a bank account, so to speak, right, with that person. Help people, be helpful whenever, it's possible for you to be helpful. It doesn't. So one day when you need some help, when you are in need, you've got sufficient people that you've helped that are willing to help you in return, right? So you never know. I mean, you may think you're very, independent and not going to need, but not everyone is all powerful. There's going to be a time where you're going to have a need that you cannot completely fulfill alone on your own, or a little bit of help is going to be, handy. So this is one of the ways to manipulate people in that sense, right? So from a business perspective, I found that I used to always practice mindfulness, yoga, meditation, pranayama, and for decades, right? And I'm an entrepreneur as well. I'm an entrepreneur for 29 years, but I've been teaching yoga and meditation for 44 years, practicing it close on to 50 years, right? So it has been a part of my life throughout my life. So my energies were balanced. I was always in a positive mood, smiling, good temperament. So generally people, more often than not, I would say 99% of the people that I interacted with liked me. Very rarely someone disliked me, right? And I was always also patient with people, right? Showing patience for someone else's irritable habits, because we are not their parents. We're not here to correct them. They have got these habits for a lifetime. You can't come, in 2 minutes, make a statement and change someone's life. You accept people for who they are. You can advise them gently, but you're not other people's advisor to advise people how to live. who are we to do that? I normally don't do all those things. Unless someone asks me for some advice specifically, I stick to that which is specifically what they ask me for. Otherwise, I don't want to go controlling people and so forth. So this is an important part, right? So in the business practice, I found that my first 6 years of business, I really struggled. And I thought I was good at communication, but I couldn't close sales, right? And one of the most important things in business is to close sales in order to generate income. Because without sales, there's no income, right? So I needed to work on my sales skills, and eventually I found that when the key to getting the sale or getting the deal is you have to get someone to like you and to trust you. Yes, people can generally, you can be a likable guy, but they're not going to trust you immediately. They're going to need time. So the formula that I found that worked very well was the 90-minute rule. So if I sat and spoke to someone and they had enough time and we managed to spend 90 minutes in a single conversation, by the end of that conversation, whatever I was wanting to sell to them and so forth, going to be so much easier. So when I went with a presentation with my service or product or something, they knew what I was there for and so forth. But invariably, a conversation used to come up, and I used to try to find clues what may interest the person, to bring about a subject matter that's interesting to them, totally deviant to my service or the product I was selling, but something of interest to that person. And it normally made the conversation very engaging, because when you speak about something that's interesting to the other person, they're going to be very, very engaged in it, and they're going to be interested in that type of conversation, as opposed to you speaking of something that's interesting to you. It's not going to be something interesting necessarily to that person. As much as you think everyone ought to be interested in this, is for their benefit, but they're not interested. I promise you. You may think that, good health is good for you, meditation is good for everyone, not having drugs and not having, poisonous substances or poisonous foods and refined foods is not good, and everyone should. 99% people not interested in that subject, and they actually become negative because you're talking about their favorite foods and their favorite habits, that you want them to leave, and they may become, then how are they going to agree to do what you would like them to do when they dislike you, right? If they dislike you, how are they going to trust you? But if they like you and you spend time and you had about 90 minutes with them, right? And they like you, for that period, and it was a good conversation, they're going to trust you at the end. Whatever you're going to offer them, it's going to be so much easier to close sales. So my closing rate changed from 1 in 50 to 1 in 20 to 1 in 5 and to 1 in 1. And I was doing 1 in 1 for 4 years in a row, right? I sold from the year 2004 to 2006, I think around that period, a minimum of around 20 houses per month consistently, whether it is summer or winter, whether it's holiday season or peak season. I still sold the same number of houses that is 240 houses to 250 houses a year. In the 4-year period, 1,000 houses, right? Imagine the amount of money I made, because I didn't sell other people's houses. I bought houses and sold, making a profit on each one, which means I earned much more than a commission amount, right? I earned about 5 times more, in it. And of course, I became, financially, high rolling. Whatever I wanted or could think of and could dream of, I was able to afford and live the life that was beyond my dreams, right? Just by learning the art of knowing how to speak to people and coming from a foundation of a balanced mindset and a balanced, energy, right? So this is the importance of the yoga science, that foundation, and you're setting the foundation, because people like balanced and easygoing people, right? They don't like frustrated and negative people, right? So if you have that balance, that foundation, and so of course it's almost impossible to get anyone's attention for 90 minutes these days, because people are busy. They have the social media, they have their phones being, messages coming in, important calls coming in all the time. You're not going to be able to hold someone's attention like that. But the newer philosophy is try to have 11 encounters with that person. Minimum of 11 encounters. When you have 11 encounters with them, Or if you're doing a YouTube channel, right, and you have YouTube videos, so if the person watches at least 11 of your videos, just a few minutes, 2 to 5 minutes, right, videos, then they're going to start liking you and trusting you, right? So why they're liking you? Because they like what you're speaking about. It is for them. Doesn't mean every person is going to like what you say, right? But what you're saying may appeal to a certain niche market, and then when you have sufficient content and they're continuously engaging with you for at least 11 times, then they are ready to buy from you. So this is my interpretation and experience of how to manipulate people, not in the sense to make them do what is harmful for them, right? But to get them to agree, because you need them to do something that's going to be beneficial to you. That's the new definition of manipulation, right? Something that's beneficial to me. But something that's going to be beneficial to you is only going to work if it's equally, or if not more beneficial, or somewhat beneficial to that person as well, right? And I hope these some tips and ideas in terms of my experience, catches on to you. And of course, my key idea is, 80% of your battle is when you balance your own energies and your own self, and you are together in yourself, and you're happy in your own skin. Are you happy? Ask yourself, are you happy with who you are? Are you happy, with life? Are you happy generally, right? Are you like sad, or, hoping, that life could be different? Of course, everyone wants to improve and everyone wants something. And a very good example is I completely lost my eyesight just over 2 years, about 2.5 years ago, right? But I don't think I was very depressed ever, right? Because I took things in my stride, and I continued to work, and I've adapted my ability to work, and till today I'm self-supporting, right? And independent, and I don't think a single day I'm now completely blind, and having to manipulate my environment. Be able to mobilize myself, right, in my environment, and take care of myself. And I lived alone in my apartment, right, taking care of my own self, cooking my food, without any training on mobility and orientation, right? Without any training, this I thought to myself, there are so many people that are blind and they're living independently, right? So I must adapt, means if it's possible, it's also possible for me. There must be a way. And I found ways innovatively, and later on when I started to learn how blind people do things, how they they can cook, and or light up the stove, and I automatically had done it already, naturally, right? I learned to do these things, to sweep my apartment, and to wash my clothes, and cook my own food, and cut the vegetables, and cut the items, blend my smoothies, exercise, and all these things, make my bed, and keep my environment neat and clean, and so forth, and taking care of myself independently, and lived and enjoyed my independence, right? Because my core foundation was the regular practice of yoga, all the yogic sciences, right? It's part of who I am. And I found that I didn't get depressed, or into a negative situation. And when I speak to people, they even wonder how come I'm positive and motivating them when I'm supposed to be sad and depressed, right? So even some close family members and so forth, when they heard that I'm lost my eyesight, and so they got so depressed, and crying. My mom was crying, and crying for weeks on end, and but I was still fine. And I said, why? I'm fine. I'm able to do everything. I'm still working. I've got my business. I'm doing my things, and I'm supporting myself. I'm not depending on anyone to support me, and I'm fine, and I'm together. I've adjusted and so forth. But this thing is because the foundation is not right. The foundation is you need to be okay first, right? And the only way, you can't tell yourself be okay and you're not going to be okay. Can't say I need to be okay. You're not going to happen. You need to have a tool that's going to make it okay. And yoga is that tool. Yoga, breath work, yoga postures, breath work, mindfulness. You don't have to do any one of those or all of them, is going to. And your incantations, your positive incantations. My future's so bright, I gotta wear shades, something like that. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve, right? So there's no such room, there's no room for the word impossible, right? Because if you can believe that you can, make it possible, that it's possible for you, it's going to be possible, you're going to do it, right? And that positive mindset is the basis of what's going to make you a benefit to society, someone that people are going to welcome and look forward to meeting. This is how you manipulate people and manipulate you, because you manipulate by manipulating yourself first, and automatically it creates the manipulation that you want. Hope that helps you.